Hello there. This is the Wikstrand. Today we are going to take a look at the 15 most anticipated movies of 2019. And you might wonder to yourself, what? It's 2020 now. Yes, I know that, but the fact was, when I did the transfer of videos from the old computer to the new one, some of them just were lost. Lost, as Gollum would say. So I'm gonna have to do this again. Not only am I gonna do a video about the 15 most anticipated movies of 2019, I'm also going to tell you the result, what I thought about them. So let's get cracking, I guess. Number 15, Spawn. Spawn was one of very few comic books I actually read and I actually really got into. And the idea of a Spawn movie I thought was great, especially with the effects they could do today. It could make the entire thing great, because you can take a dog-sized bowel movement on the entirety of the original movie from 1997, but it did have good parts in it. It did have the right ideas, but they couldn't really, capitalize on them. In today's society, where comic book movies are, very common, it could have been absolutely astonishing. And it was gonna come out, around Halloween, as I've read it, but, well, didn't come out. 2020. This movie is still being slated as in development, so we'll see when it comes out. Number 14, Star Wars Episode 9. After The Last Jedi and Solo, I was very down on the entirety of Star Wars. I didn't expect that much from it. It had lost its soul, it had become a shell of its former self, and it was just so annoyed. I was just so annoyed because The Last Jedi was almost a really good movie, but it just annoyed me in so many ways. I didn't expect anything from this one, but still, you had to have a Star Wars movie at least, somewhere around. Success. People seem to hate this movie, and I've never understood why. I have to rewatch it before I can, properly say that I think it's one of the greatest Star Wars movies of all time. But as of right now, it's fun, it's fast, it has lots of exciting moments, it has lots of great humor, and everybody hates it for some reason. I just don't understand it sometimes. Sheesh. Number 13, Alita: Battle Angel. Alita: Battle Angel was originally going to come out 2018, but it came out 2019. I didn't actually see it in the cinemas because I didn't have time for it, but initially when I was really excited for it, but then I got less and less excited for it. But it still was a movie I was looking forward to. Pretty okay. I think Alita: Battle Angel is a really good movie. It does have a bit of sequel baiting, and which we're probably not gonna get, but I really liked it. Number 12, Rambo 5. I think that John Rambo was a very good ending to the Rambo quadrilogy, which it had been after it was originally a trilogy. And but I was looking forward to this one because I'm a psychopath and I wanted to have more violence and more gore. Pretty okay. When the movie came out, I was a bit surprised. I thought, what the hell is this? Taken meets Home Alone, directed by Eli Roth? Weird. I still like it, but it had a long way before it, took off. But then, holy shit, it was so over the top, silly, and so completely ridiculously gory that it almost became laughable. But once again, it is not as good of a finale, but I'll guess we'll have to accept it, I suppose. I kind of like it, but it feels like one of the lesser good Rambo movies. Number 11, John Wick Chapter 3. I wasn't too high on John Wick Chapter 2. I thought that it was too much of sequel baiting, and I thought that John Wick was just such a entertaining movie that I thought that, well, this feels unnecessary. But now, I must actually say that Chapter 2, if I would, rewatch it, I would probably say, well, now I do understand. I was more and more excited for it the longer the time passed between Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. So, well, I got pretty excited. Success! This one is pretty silly. It's still not a perfect movie, but it is very entertaining. Especially, I think that the start with the fight with all the knives and axes and stuff like that was kind of awesome. And I also think it is probably the world record of being thrown through glass windows and not having any cuts. But now I am super excited for a Chapter 4, which hopefully will be, please make number 4 the finale, and we will forever be in your debt, Hollywood. Please don't drag this out to more than 4, please. Number 10, Dark Phoenix. I can be a stubborn son of a bitch sometimes, even though everything was pointing towards that this was going to be a bad movie. I said, no, they're going to do a functioning Dark Phoenix saga, and they're gonna do it correct, unlike X-Men 3. And I just stood my ground and said, this is gonna be not the best X-Men movie, but it's going to be a great X-Men movie. Failure. Oh god, this was just so boring and so uninspiring and so dull and so uninteresting. Everything that could go wrong with this one basically went wrong. It was just a bunch of nothing. It's a little bit difficult for me to come up with which is worse, this one or X-Men Origins Wolverine. They are in the same park of being the worst of the X-Men movies, but damn, this was bad. Number 9, The Irishman. You owe it to yourself to always get excited for when Martin Scorsese is making another movie, and I was too. Pretty okay. I think that this movie is a little bit too long, and I think it is too slow, and I was never that committed to it. It is a really good movie with really fine acting, but it is still a little bit too long in the tooth for me. This is just one of these movies that has so much hype it cannot really, carry it all. And I'm glad I saw it, but I probably never watched it again. Number 8, Captain Marvel. Just an example on how little I know about comic books. I thought that Captain Marvel was a dude until 2015. I was sort of, why are they talking about that a woman is going to play Captain Marvel? Captain Marvel is a dude, right? Apparently not. But nevertheless, it was a Marvel movie, it was 2019, which means you have to be very excited for this one. And I was, but I was sort of, I don't know that much about the character, and let's see where it goes. Pretty okay. I have conflicting feelings about Captain Marvel. On one hand, it is a pretty straightforward and pretty funny and pretty entertaining, comic book movie. But at the same time, Brie Larson is pretty boring and pretty bland as Captain Marvel. But there are, stuff on the side that was a lot of fun. To me, it is on the lower spectrum of the Marvel movies, but I love all the Marvel movies so much, so that's still a pretty good movie. Number 7, Godzilla, King of the Monsters. After Kong Skull Island, I became a little bit more hopeful to that the new Godzilla movie was going to get better than the first one. Especially I hope that we were gonna get to actually say something. When they said in the first one, let them fight, I would rather say, let us see them fight, was more appropriate. Oh, I hoped for this one so much, but it looked like it was going to be all out silly, big creature nonsense. Success! Oh, I love this movie. It is, it just moves 100 miles an hour, it has great fights, it has an epic scope, it has fantastic music, and you do get to see them fight. Not as much as I would like to, but you got to see them a lot more, and at least you didn't get to see them, on a small TV that is on the background in the room. Oh God, I'm never gonna get that out of my mind. To me, this is the best of the movies that has come out in this sort of cinematic universe, sort of. And I'm very much looking forward to Kong versus Godzilla, where someone is going to fall, which means that they're gonna fall and then they're gonna come back again, then they're gonna team up and then they're going to, fight somebody else. You're not fooling anybody, Number 6, Hellboy. Similar to when I saw the movie The Predator 2018. When I saw Hellboy on opening day, I saw it, I thought to myself, well, this must be exactly what people wanted. I came home, people fucking hates this movie. Success! I love this movie. To me, people complained about that it wasn't scary. I don't want scary Hellboy. I want funny, exciting adventure Hellboy. If you don't like it, well, in that case, you're not gonna like this movie. But to me, it was perfect. I loved it. And it bombed, and now we're not gonna get a single Hellboy movie again. Ugh. Number 5, Glass. M. Night Shyamalan's career has been about a bit of a roller coaster. The roller coaster has mostly been down to the, underbowels of the industry's horrendously awful stuff. Split was a sort of a comeback for him, and everybody got excited to see Bruce Willis, Samuel Jackson and James McAvoy in the same movie. I was certainly, and I hoped for big surprises, and I hoped for twists, and I hoped for a different take on the superhero genre, and I was really excited for this one. Okay, I maybe aimed a little too high for this one. It is a fun movie and it is a very exciting movie, and I think that the double twist that this movie has is pretty fucking awesome. But there is a lot of very slow pace and very, very dull moments until we get to it. But it does have a fascinating vibe to it. To me, this is my second favorite of Shyamalan's movies. I'm not gonna tell you what my favorite are because it is a bit too embarrassing. It's tucked away deep, deep, deep into the bowels of the guilty pleasure sack I have. Number 4, Joker. The idea of a Joker origin story got some people upset. They said, but we don't want to see the origin of the Joker. Fucko, you've already seen the origin of the Joker once. It was in Batman 1989. This is just one of the many possibilities that one Joker could have was my opinion to it. I got properly excited for this one because it felt like this was going to be a pretty big deal, and it was going to be a unique, and it was going to be a dark, and it's going to be R-rated, and it was going to be awesome. Success! Everybody loved this movie. It was difficult to find anybody who had anything bad to say about it. I'm going to say that I didn't think it was quite as good as that. It was really good, but my problem was all the time as I saw this one, it was just, that's from Taxi Driver. That's from King of Comedy. That's from Taxi Driver again. That's even more King of Comedy. There was so much, borrowing from Scorsese's 70s and the 80s repertoire that I got visibly distracted from it. And I was also a little bit, well, I didn't exactly love the ending, even though I was not, there was nothing wrong with it, but I was not 100% on with it. But I still think it was one of the best movies of 2019, no doubt about it, but it isn't the be-all end-all of comic book movies that has ever been made, but it was really fun and really unique. It had really great acting in it, and it was fantastically shot, and it had great music. So what else do you want? Well, a little bit more originality, please, maybe. Number 3, Kingsman 3. The third Kingsman movie was going to come out late 2019, and I was properly excited for it. This was going to be a prequel done right, because a prequel that takes place so far ahead of the original movie that characters from the movies that comes after it chronologically will not be affected by it. And of course it did have Ray Fiennes, which automatically makes everything 74.7% better. Yay! Hasn't come out yet. We'll see if it even comes out 2020, because that little thing. We'll see what happens. Number 2, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now you have an obligation to go and see movies made from original scripts made by talented directors. Don't go and see, sequels and remakes and reboots if you're not going to see and support movies that are original. And also, if it's Quentin Tarantino, then you're almost obligated to see it twice. I was very excited for this one, and it was 4 years since we had seen the latest Tarantino movie, and this was going to be awesome. Pretty okay. I have to rewatch this one, but it was a little bit slow, even though it had an amazing finish and it had great acting, especially DiCaprio and Brad Pitt, who seems to having the time of their lives. They seem to be enjoying every single second they were on screen. There is a lot you can cut from this one, but it is a fascinating and funny and rather unpredictable movie. And I say it was not as good as I hoped it would be, but it wasn't a failure. It was pretty awesome. And number 1, Avengers Endgame. The snap didn't mean anything 2016, but just you wait a little bit more, then a snap will be something completely different. Seeing this movie, it was difficult to find a movie to get more excited for than the conclusion to, 11 years and 21 movies or something like that. The grand finale of things. It was difficult to find anything that people had expected more from, and I was sitting there on opening day and seeing this movie, and that was quite something. Success! This movie is a little bit too long, and it has parts of it that really drags on, but when the finish happens, the last 30-35 minutes, Jesus Christ, it just goes into absolute overload. It is, it's difficult to explain exactly how awesome it is, but it is certainly something to behold. Oh my. Well, this was a strange little experiment we've done today. Well, see you next time. The Wikstrand is signing out.